I've got everything hooked up as far as I'm going to get. I have 4 drops now in the shop. One for the table saw, one down there at the dual press, the miter saw right here, and then behind you I have one for the band saw and joiner and planer that I could hook up. All the pipe has been run. I've been using it for a while now and it's doing quite well. I think I have some work to do on the miter saw here and a little work around the table saw, but I think it's just a deficiency of the saw that I have. So let's take a look at what I have and what I've done, and we'll go from there. As you can see, here's the frame I built first with the blower motor attached, and then I got the Super Dust Deputy XL attached to that. I had to come through the wall back here, and we'll go inside to see that. But for my collection bin, I just got one of these fiber barrels, and with this area out here behind the shop being gravel and potential moisture, I didn't want to set it on the ground, and I wanted a way to suspend it where it'd be held from the bottom so there's no stress on the cyclone itself. So I basically came up with an idea of kind of putting these triangles on the bracket, and then from underneath glued and screwed some cross pieces, and I think this is just 1/4-inch threaded rod with some knobs to a base on the bottom that has some nylon nuts so they won't come off, with some washers that hold it up. So the idea is the top of this is bolted to the cyclone. All I have to do is pop the ring here and tighten these like we're tightening something, which will lower the base, and then I can slide that out. We'll see how that works. If not, I'll modify something else. And then over here you can see the output side, and with the 6-inch ductwork I wanted something that was going to not restrict the blower performance by trying to blow through a small straw. So what this is 8-inch HVAC ductwork and just a little donut cut out on the bandsaw that is matches this flange, and it just goes straight outside to a duct thing you'd use in a house. And then I have a flapper that is gravity kind of keeps it closed with a couple of magnets to keep the bugs and birds out. When it runs, it'll open up, and when you turn it off, it'll close automatically. So that's pretty much what's going on out here. I mean, the unit sits here, all the noise is out here and not in the shop, so I don't have to worry about, for some things, wearing hearing protection, which is a nice thing. So maybe we'll grab the remote and we'll look outside and see what the little gate does, just so you can kind of see it and watch it. So kind of here we are outside. You can see the cyclone in here. You can see the exhaust coming out, and it goes to I think it's like a 6x14 boot, or I don't know what you call those things in HVAC terms. But on the back side of the shed I have this little flap. So if I turn the unit on, get in here close, you may get some air noise, but I got a couple magnets here that go to some screws, you kind of see in the corners there. So when that slows down, which it takes it a little bit, so there's definitely still some air coming out of there. slowly. And then magnet pulls it closed, so that way you can just keep all the any birds or wasps out here in the country. Plenty of opportunities for that. So next we're going to go inside and we'll take a look at some of the ducting and how it comes through the wall, and then where we branch out to. All right, back inside, you can see where it came through the wall right here. So that's our inlet, and then above we have the power cable coming in from the dust collector, and then the remote here, which ties to a dedicated circuit. I think one of the biggest challenges was coming out of here, coming up at this 45-degree angle, and then turning at the 45-degree angle to go parallel, which isn't too bad, but adding a cant into the pipe to avoid a air conditioning, being directly over an air conditioning duct right here. I think it took me like 4 or 5 tries to get this length right, but where it is not really in the way of anything. I can get to these shelves once I move some things around and get to everything here. It's not blocking any air really, it's not blocking any light, and it's staying close to the ceiling to keep the height, so I can still clear 8 feet underneath. So everything's kind of rushes down here, and also here in the back where I went through the concrete on this side, I kind of used some of that gridlock foam pad you can get for anti-fatigue mat and cut it down a little bit and stuck it in here to help avoid this pipe from rubbing up against the cut concrete and potentially making a hole later on. So let me reposition you guys and we'll take a look at my, I guess I call it my subway map of piping. Alright, so here you can kind of get a more of a bird's eye view of what's going on. So we have a main trunk coming down here that does feed the table saw, and then I had to break out to the right, or to the left I guess, and I head over towards the drill press, and it comes down a little bit more and does another jog because I need to miss the light right here in the middle of the room that I guess this branch would have hit. Come down and veer off, going over to the miter saw, and then that also branches off and goes down to the edge of the miter saw station where the bandsaw, the joiner, and also run the planer from. So I have plenty of there's plenty of tools I can run from that location. I haven't finished. As you can see, the bandsaw over here still has a cap on it. The drill press. Still trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to get one of those 6-inch to 2 4-inches like you get on a dust collector, and then get some of that rigid flexible dust collection hose that I can then bring down like on either side of the drill head as it's going down to get everything. Or also another option is to have a more of a mobile tool, longer hose come out of there to this side of the miter saw station for sanding or whatever. From there, you can see I have a blast gate, homemade blast gate over there. And then I have a couple other blast gates that are attached to this 4-inch hose, which are the, just gonna get this off. The standard ones you get online or at the store. And these are just kind of using the quick connect fittings on a lot of the tools. So far it's been working great. Still fiddling around with the miter saw, like I said. Table saw, you know, it works as well as you can get the blade adjusted, and you know, it's a little contractor saw, so it's not the best. But with the bandsaw, the joiner, and the planer, those are very well enclosed, and those pretty much pick up everything that has been thrown at it in that distance, which is about, if you look at the total pipe length, we're talking probably near 40 feet, and it's doing a neck down to a 4-inch. I wanted the 6 inches to have the availability for future expansion, and go from there. One other option I'm working on is the pipe that's down there is about 4 feet long, which works great when you roll the bandsaw or the joiner up to it, but when I take the planer out and sit it on the desktop, it doesn't really wrap around. I want something that's going to be a little closer, easier to put a pipe on. So I have a Y over there that'll probably go right to the right of the blast gate and kind of stick out at an angle, which will then be able to go straight in to the planer. So overall it's worked great. The sound is much less, so if I turn it on here, first video, I think it was up at near 110 or 120 decibels, which would be horrible. Even if I had that whole unit mounted on the outside of the wall, mounted in here with some filters to keep the conditioned air, it would just be way too noisy. You can't have a radio going and have the unit, you know, running for a long amount of time. So the noise has been less, the flow has been good. For the price I've paid for a lot of used components and the piping, I found pretty cheap at a plumbing supply store. I think it was like maybe $10 a stick for a 10-foot stick. I mean, it was pretty cheap. And the fittings were comparable, I think, to Lowe's, maybe a little bit cheaper. And it turned out really great. You know, the mounts were holding to the ceiling really well. I did have a video of making the blast gate, but unfortunately I was playing the radio in the background, so YouTube said put the kibosh on it for copyright infringement. I think there are enough blast gate videos out on the net these days to, you can mimic, you know, anything you want. So that's pretty much an overview of, you know, where I am, and everything's done. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them on how I did this, or how did I find that, or, you know, I don't care about what you ask me. Suggestions would be great. I kind of cobbled this together, and it's working for me. I haven't used it a long time yet. It's probably been finished for about a month, and I would love to hear comments, suggestions, you know, anything you have. So, thank you.